Rachel Nichols is here, coming to us from Las Vegas, where I'm sure it is a seasonably warm 100 and something degrees in the Las
113
Vegas.
yesterday.
Oh, I can't wait. I get there on Sunday, and I've already looked up the temperatures. It's well over 110 during the week. I think one of the days it goes down to like 108, and that's considered kind of a cool-off period.
Yeah.
But, it's the price you pay to have NBA Summer League in Las Vegas. But you were
climate change, whatever we want to call it.
Whatever we want to call it. For us professionally, it's the price you pay to go to Summer League. But you do get a first look at some of the future stars of the NBA. A couple of years ago, it was Victor Wembanyama debuting there to great fanfare. This year, it was Cooper Flagg, the Dallas Mavericks #1 overall draft pick, widely regarded one of, if not the best American prospect since LeBron James. You were at the debut, Rachel, of Cooper Flagg, which in Cooper Flagg's words was, I think he said, one of the worst games he's ever played. I mean, statistically it was pretty bad. 5 of 21 for the floor, 0 of 5 from three-point range. He did make some good passes. He did make some game-winning or game-changing defensive plays. Give me your assessment, your first look at Cooper Flagg.
I understand why, for a player who's only had kind of success his whole life, that seeing numbers like he saw in his box score might feel like one of the worst games he's ever played, but sure didn't look like it from my seat. You and I have seen so many of these, right? And I think it's one of the most fun things about Summer League is we get to see the #1 pick debut in the NBA. And it almost always follows this script for the good ones, right? I mean, there are the rare cases of someone having an all-out Bafo first premier game, but usually the scoring is down from what these guys are used to, and usually it's the other stuff that we end up praising. And I think in the other stuff category, Cooper Flagg really showed us what his potential is going to be. He was aggressive, something the coaching staff asked him to be, that he acknowledged after the game he wasn't that comfortable with, especially shooting, but he did it anyway. And to me, that was very important because it shows A, he's coachable, and B, he's not so afraid of what he's going to look like or be embarrassed by that he wasn't willing to do what the coaching staff asked, which also included more ball handling, more passing. I thought he had some nice passes, some nice defensive plays, as you noted. And I just think that he really showed off a lot of the potential that we're going to see. And also, you just have to keep telling yourself, this kid is 18 years old. We have not seen kids this age debut at #1 in quite some time, because normally you don't have a guy who skips a year of high school, so he's still able to play that season of college and come into the league at 18. And Mark Cuban was there as a spectator, I guess, after the game, since he doesn't own the team anymore, at least not the majority stake. But he said, being around this kid, it feels like he's 75 and I'm the kid. He's so mature. You've been around him, Chris. You spent time with him. You wrote a big piece on him. He said the balance of how he approaches things is so level-headed that he expects him to only get better from here. He also said he thinks his trajectory is going to be similar to Kobe's. So we got to be a little careful with Mark and what he's saying right now. But I definitely see what he's talking about the maturity factor. And I like the non-box score things. I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah. Throw out Summer League statistics, especially early Summer League statistics. Go back and look at what Victor Wembanyama did in his first game at Summer League. It was not good. But nobody left that Summer League game thinking this guy's not going to be special. Cooper Flagg is going to be special. A couple things you said there that stood out. The coachability factor of all this. I spent a lot of time talking to him, and I've profiled a lot of guys in the last 10, 15 years. He strikes me as one of the most coachable guys that have come out of the amateur ranks. Everyone says it, whether it's his high school coaches or his personal coach, Brian Scalabrine, who put Cooper Flagg through the ringer when he had him when he was 14 years old, said he was doing drills that, college kids take weeks to pick up. He was picking it up in 24 hours. Like he's got this supercomputer of a brain that allows him to process information and then implement information in an incredible way. And I think that's going to make that learning curve just a lot easier for him to overcome. The be aggressive stuff is going to be interesting to watch. When I talked to John Shire about this, he said, and I asked him, what was the first thing that you kind of dug into with Cooper? What was the thing you wanted to change or work with him on? He said aggressiveness. He wanted him to be a shoot-first type of guy because he's such a gifted offensive player. But Cooper's natural instincts are to be a playmaker, to get everybody else involved, to make sure the entire team is is getting their looks. I don't think he needs to take 21 shots every game, and he certainly won't, playing for this Dallas Mavericks team. But getting him to embrace being a scorer first is something that's going to take Cooper some time to deal with and to get comfortable with. Not that he can't do it, but it's going to take him a little bit of time. All this other stuff I saw, like the playmaking was great. Like in the open floor, he was finding guys from beyond the 3-point line. He could have had more assists than he had if a couple more guys made shots. Defensively, I said weeks ago, like defensively, he's going to make his mark there early on. Like he's already an elite weak side shot blocker. Like he covers so much ground from the weak side. He's going to be a shot blocker there. He's a good on-ball defender already at multiple positions. I think defensively he's going to be a force pretty early in his career. That offensive game, like when I say it's going to come quickly, I'm talking months, not years. I think it's months, and he's turning into a really formidable scoring option his first year in Dallas. And from there, the sky's the limit. It makes me, like, I'm watching that game, and part of me's thinking, like, all right, should we keep thinking like Dallas's year is not this year, but the year after, because that's when Kyrie Irving is fully healthy and then Cooper Flagg gets a full offseason. But I'm watching him like, look, I don't know what's going to happen with Kyrie. He had some interesting comments this week about how quickly he's going to come back. But if Kyrie finds his way back in the lineup at midseason and Cooper Flagg grows, with his game as much as I think he's going to, it's going to be a tough team in the playoffs. I mean, are they better than Oklahoma City? No. Are they better than Houston? On paper, probably not right now. But if it all comes together, and a lot of things do have to come together, come April, that's going to be a tough team to knock off in a 7-game series.
Yeah, I spoke to Kyrie yesterday. He was courtside, which I always appreciate when the vets come check out the rookies. And, he was telling me how good he was feeling. So, who knows? These injuries, we have to see how they rehab. Honestly, I think it'll depend on how the team is doing at the time about how much they want to rush him back and risk anything all over again. But yeah, absolutely. I just think in the West, it is so competitive that it really is going to come down once we get to the playoffs to who has injuries, as we saw this year, what the bracket looks like, as we saw this year. Because if you face the wrong team in the second round, you're a team that may otherwise have reached the finals. But because they matched up against you in a certain way in the second round, you get knocked out. So I think we got to just wait and see how a lot of that turns out in the West. But I think there's no doubt that Dallas has, they just got exceptionally lucky, not just with the 1.3% chance of getting this pick, but with who this pick was this year. He really seems to have all those intangibles. And you talk about his defensive prowess. I mean, he had 3 steals and a block in this game. So when you're talking about, I didn't one of the worst games of my career, that's pretty good for your first game ever at Summer League, especially where sort of the speed of the game and you're playing against second-year players who know all those. I mean, one thing I noticed, and you notice it every year at Summer League, and I was watching some of the earlier games, Chris, is, the first-year players don't know all the little tricks the second-year players know. So, even just like the little bits of the reaching and the this and the that and how to get a guy to tip the ball out of bounds and things like that, he's going to pick up all on that really quick. Mark did say that he's already talking to Dirk. He said, can you imagine if he develops the Dirk step back? I mean, again, Mark is very excited, I think, to have someone to be excited about again. But it was fun. It was fun to see that enthusiasm. It was fun to see Mavs fans in the stands happy. I felt for Mavs fans a lot over this past 6 months. I really, it's been.
Can't believe it's only been like 6 months. Like I know it's
crazy, right?
Yeah, 6, 7 months, whatever it is. Yeah, wild.
And so it's fun. I mean, basketball's fun, man, and it's great when more fan bases get to be not miserable. And the Mavericks went from a very miserable fan base to one that has a lot of hope and excitement. And that was the headline for me watching Cooper, is just sort of, wow. This kid has so much in front of him. He already has so many intangibles. And again, I don't call it bravery. I mean, he's not like saving kids from burning buildings, but these guys are so aware now of social media clips and, what they look like and how the different shows are going to talk about them. And, we have this economy where the only way you can, get attention is hot takes. So what's the hot take going to be on him? And he was still able to block all of that out and just go do experimental things his coaches wanted him to try. And to me, that is a real skill, because in this NBA, how you deal with all that noise around you, and we see vets who are not able to handle it, and the fact that he's sort of was like, well, this is what they want me to do, I'm going to go do it, even if it ends up in, quote, in his words, one of the worst games of his career. I really admire that.
And I don't know how many games he's going to wind up playing for Dallas at this Summer League, but if he gets to 3 or 4, like watch the 4th game. Watch how he looks after he's processed the information he's getting from the coaching staff, what he's seeing from teams on the other end. I guarantee the last game that he plays is going to be better than the game he's played, because that's just kind of his MO. That's how he is. I can't give Nico Harrison credit for this, because I can't give credit for like the blind luck of getting the first overall pick, but he has formed the kind of team that he was hoping to form. He's got a team that is going to be potentially dominant defensively. Like, that back line is unbelievable. Like, they just signed D'Angelo Russell. D'Angelo Russell's not a great defensive player. He's going to look so much better when Cooper Flagg, Anthony Davis, and Derek Lively are behind him on a front line. Klay Thompson's still a solid defender, not what he used to be, but still a solid defender. Like, they've got the ability to lock you down. And, when Davis is cooking, when Kyrie is back, Russell coming off the bench, Cooper's second half of the season, I don't know. Maybe exciting. I'm caught up in the moment. But they're going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. I promise you. And I promise you, Cooper is going to, month by month, just look at some of these numbers he has. He's going to get so much better as each month goes on.
I have heard a few people, this was Nico's plan all along. Nico's plan was not for Anthony Davis to get hurt as soon as he got there, and for them to even fall into the ability to get this pick in the draft. So this was not Nico's plan. His plan was not this, and his plan was not to have a 1.3% chance that would pay off. But it fits in so well with what was his plan that this is a very exciting team, and there's a lot of hope there.
Yeah, well, anyone in the NBA that seriously suggests it was his plan, you need to tell me who that is so I can delete them from my phone too. All right? Because that is not a take. No. That is not a good take at all, whoever might suggest something like that.